You will spend your whole life building a house that isn't yours. And then you will realize you have forgotten how to live outside of it. The promise is this. By the end of this, you will understand what happens when you finally stop trying so hard to know yourself. You will learn that freedom begins with forgetting who you think you are. There is a feeling many people carry around, a heavy weight they feel every day. It is the burden of needing to be consistent, always knowing how you should act or who you should be. This need for self-knowledge feels like survival. You believe if you just look hard enough, you will find the true core of yourself, the perfect, authentic self that has been hiding all along. This desire matters because it rules your choices. It controls your relationships and your ambitions. If you are always trying to meet a definition of you never get to simply exist in the moment. You live in rehearsal mode. You are always performing for an audience, even if that audience is just inside your own head. But what if the search itself is the problem? What if the only way to find quiet peace is to let go of the person you thought you were looking for? The first lesson is that self is not a solid thing. It is a collection of stories. Think about the life of a high school student. That identity is built on tests, friends, and college applications. The moment those things change, the old self begins to crack. Who are you when the metrics disappear? We treat our inner selves like historical facts. We believe they exist in one place, waiting for us to excavate them fully. But a person is more like flowing water than solid rock. You shift with the ground beneath you. The constant effort to define yourself creates resistance. It builds walls around your spirit. These walls keep you safe, but they also keep you small. The self-concept is simply the most popular story you tell yourself. Understanding this doesn't mean abandoning who you are. It means realizing that the story you tell can change its ending. But what does it feel like to live without a defined narrative? There was one thing our culture missed when teaching us about authenticity. The second truth we must face is the myth of the essential self. We assume there is one core, unchanging person inside us. Yet, every time you learn something new, you change. Every relationship alters your perspective on what is real. A deep dive into your feelings makes them complicated. You are not a static portrait, you are a moving landscape. Imagine an artist painting a self-portrait over 50 years. The lines, the style, the subject matter, they all shift wildly. They never stay still. Trying to capture that shifting paint on one rigid canvas is impossible. This effort creates constant disappointment. You feel fraudulent because your real life doesn't match the person you designed in your head. This gap between who you are and who you think you should be causes a deep, quiet exhaustion. It drains your energy. The attempt to synthesize all these changing parts into one neat identity is exhausting work. But this struggle for cohesion leads us somewhere unexpected. We must start practicing detachment from our own opinions. This radical self-unlearning helps us see the truth of who we are. If you stop judging yourself by past versions, what remains? The greatest difficulty is that letting go feels like losing everything. It feels like becoming a ghost in your own life. You begin to pull away from the things and people who defined your current version of self. This withdrawal is not failure, it is necessary clearing. But detachment is not just about feelings or thoughts. It must be applied physically in how you move through the world. How do we practice being a stranger when our bodies carry so much history? The challenge moves from theory to action. The final step requires us to treat ourselves like an anthropologist studying someone else. You observe your habits without judging them. You watch your reactions to stress as if they belong to another person. This is pure, objective curiosity applied inward. It does not require rejection. It demands seeing things clearly for the first time. Picture watching a friend interact in a foreign country. You notice their gestures, their laugh, the small ways they handle conflict. You are detached but observant. When you turn this gaze onto yourself, the judgments soften. The internal critic, that relentless voice of should and must, becomes just another data point to observe. This practice shows you that your strongest emotions are not facts about you. They are passing chemical events in your body. Your deepest fears are stories told by old wiring. By seeing yourself from a distance, you reclaim power. You realize that you are the viewer, and self is simply the subject matter. It is a quiet turning point, a moment where understanding replaces striving. Everything you thought was fixed suddenly moves. It falls away like dry leaves in autumn. And when it does, what remains is surprisingly simple. The self you desperately tried to find, the one that would grant permanence and meaning, it vanishes when you stop trying to hold it together. You become a stranger, not because you abandoned yourself, but because you finally stopped believing in the story of who you were supposed to be. And in that emptying out, there is an incredible kind of quiet freedom. A vast, uncharted space where simply being is enough. You don't need to know your ultimate purpose right now. You just need permission to unknow yourself for a little while.